So the someone's like people just say invention, sorry, necessity is the mother of invention. So whenever there's necessity, there's always invention. So people won't know how good they are except when there is a need, a very high demand. For example, if someone like for example, let's assume something happens to the earth and we need to come up with a machine that will take us out of this earth. I'm telling you, man, we are going to manufacture that machine. But that's it. We're going to create that machine. So when there is necessity, like there is invention. So that tells us who we are. So sometimes the heat of life tend to act like this necessity, this pressure that will push us to actually being the best we can be, because humans like being just complacent and comfortable. So I really do think the good difficulties of life will act like pressure to push us to be the best we can really be. Because yeah, necessity, yeah, television. I think this television now, for example, now I think another things are there because necessity came out. Chairs were created because of the deep need for us to be comfortable, the deep need to have a well defined place we call sitting room. I think that was why chairs were developed. Freezer was developed because of the need to be able to keep your food and have a comfortable life. That was why freezer was developed. If necessity is the mother of invention, then and the more we invent, the more we get satisfied. Then that means the more we invent, the lesser we become creative. That's why we must actually entertain these good life's difficulties. Yeah, these good life's difficulties, because these life's difficulties, the good ones, act like this pressure that keeps on driving us, so that as we create more, we will not let that same result keep us down from creating more. It's just like feedback mechanism in biology, where hormones are being released. The more your body releases hormones, the hormones itself is what we send message back to stop production. So that is the product is what regulates the it all regulates the input. So that's feedback mechanism in biology. I think same thing is happening. The more we create, the products we see around sometimes act like a regulator that regulates our inputs. Sometimes when we achieve our dreams, we become less motivated to move forward again. So I really do think this is really true. Life's difficulties like does a lot of work, a whole lot. Sometimes the heat of life is there because there is a weakness that we need to overcome. Sometimes there is a weakness that is not sometimes that we need to overcome, and that heat is probably what we close up that gap, or what we cause us to work on that weakness. So sometimes the heat of life also is very important. It's very important too. And I think the heat of life sometimes is a disguised lesson. Sometimes the heat of life is a disguised lesson for us to learn, because there's vast knowledge available for us. Anybody can just move and you may just think a particular thought which is knowledge filled. So sometimes the heat of life is like a disguised lesson. So I think I should start looking deeper into any issues, or anybody should start looking deeper into any issues, because that's it. The heat of life is sometimes a disguised lesson for all. I really think so. Then I also think um, mm, the heat of life helps us to dream because many people will dream if they are pushed to dream because that's what is more important. We are here to dream and make our dreams reality. By the time people don't dream, they find no need to live. They find that's when they abuse drugs and etc. But when people dream, it gives you a reason to stay alive. It gives you a reason to wake up from the bed. It gives you a reason to be happy. So the heat of life sometimes pushes us to dream, and that is the most important thing in life. So the heat of life is somehow how the new steps being renewed in the knowledge, the image of the spirit of wow. The rapid transformation change they happen exponentially. Popularity video gives wow man. There is really vast knowledge available in books because they say the best way to keep secrets is books. Man, there's a vast knowledge available to us, and most of this knowledge is hidden in books. Books. Wow. So wow, man, this is awesome. Man, there's a lot written in books. Lots, lots. So there's a lot written in books, and I think the source of knowledge primarily is books. I do get my knowledge from books. Wow. But one book I really enjoy Atomic Habits, man. There's a good lesson there to learn. Atomic Habits by James Clear. And it's a young guy who wrote the book, talked about how to create new habits and actually stop bad ones. I think anybody should read that book. Atomic Habits by James Clear. One thing I really love in that book is that section where he talked about habit stocking. That's how to form new habits. Like creating habits is very very bad, and our habits determine where we go, where we can reach in life. So that book is really really relevant because it helps us form good habits without stress. So I remember he said, this place he said, if you want to form good habits, you have to stock the new habits with old habits. Let's just say, for example, there are some habits we already have in ourselves, just like computer. For you to have a phone, there has to be programs that are already built into the computer. Then before you now start installing your other things, it's just like that is how it is. For life, we usually have these habits when we grow for the first 7 years of life. There are certain habits that are built into us. There are some that we formed, but it gets to a particular point where we find it hard to now create new habits. He said in that place, I remember he said something that yes, that if you want to form new habits, you should I remember that thing he said you should stock the new habits to old habits. For example, I have the habit of probably dressing the bed, for example, or anyone has the habit of eating in the evening. We all know that we have to eat in the evening. That's a habit already. So if you want to form new habits, you have to then know the new habits. Let's assume you want to always read or before you go to bed. Then he said in the book that if you want to do this, um I think either you do that reading before you eat dinner, before you take dinner, before you have dinner, you do that reading before you have dinner. So probably 3 minutes or 4 minutes to you having dinner, you can just do some reading, 2 to 4 minutes before your dinner. In that process, you'll be able to form a new habit by stocking the new habits to the old habit of eating dinner, of having dinner. So that is just how he explained it in that place. I remember very well that habit stocking and everything. Yeah, that's exactly what he did in that place. So I think that book is really really relevant. If I had, if we like to recommend it to her, we really do so. I think that's very very important. Habit stocking. Then also he talked about this place. I remember that talked about I wish that sometimes habits get boring when it's too long. For example, if you want to create a new habit of probably reading, it's wise you start doing it. You go through the part of least resistance. For example, you probably read for 2 minutes, not just jump in to read for 30 minutes. You read for 2 minutes, then you close the book, then you do other things just like that. That's what something very important again that James Clear talked about in this book. Man, books are really, really. So I will recommend to people in the future. I remember two books that I will recommend to people in the future is number one, Atomic Habits by James Clear, and The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Those two books are fantastic, man. What a pleasant experience! Spiritual transition, and we have okay. That's I love talking while reading because it helps my reading fun and it helps me to be awake because when you are reading sometimes you may lose consciousness and just fall asleep. Kind of touch the issues of life. There are many issues that we face that don't require tool like armor to fix them. There are some issues that require just the mind and ideas to